China's celestial palace, the Tiangong, represents the most sophisticated space station humanity has ever placed into orbit. While this achievement is tremendously significant, it remains something that people throughout the Western Hemisphere don't fully comprehend or possess much knowledge about. At this stage, we've all become quite accustomed to observing personnel aboard the International Space Station. Consequently, we've developed a fairly solid understanding of what existence in space entails. However, the experience of Chinese crews living aboard the Tiangong is unlike anything previously witnessed in the history of human spaceflight. Therefore, let's examine what activities they've been pursuing up there. The Tiangong currently comprises 3 modules arranged in a T configuration, forming a space station that circles approximately 400 kilometers above Earth's surface. Its central component is the Tianhe Core Command Module, a name meaning harmony of the heavens. This module was initially deployed in April 2021 and presently functions as the station's operational command center. Located at the larger extremity of the core module is a workspace designated for both technical operations and scientific experimentation. This location also houses the propulsion system for the station, which maintains its orbital trajectory. At the module's terminus sits a docking port designed specifically for the Tianzhou cargo vessel. This port will also serve as a future attachment point for the Chinese Space Telescope. Proceeding to the narrower cylindrical portion of the Tianhe, we find the primary crew living quarters. Individual sleeping compartments exist for 3 crew members, along with all essential hygiene amenities such as the space lavatory and washing facilities. The Tianhe also serves as the module supporting the station's primary robotic arm, which measures 10 meters in length. It's somewhat shorter than the Canadarm2 currently operational at the ISS, which extends 17 meters, but the Chinese arm possesses comparable functionality and potential for extension. The Wentian Experiment Module, whose name translates as Heavenly Quest, was incorporated in July 2022 and operates as both crew quarters and research laboratory combined. 4 experimental rack positions exist within the Wentian, containing research initiatives focused on life sciences, biotechnology, and variable gravity effects. 3 additional sleeping compartments are housed here, expanding the total occupancy to 6 individuals, though these are utilized only during crew transition periods when one trio of astronauts transfers responsibility to the next. Then, moving toward the module's narrower end, there's a designated area for external experimentation. This essentially constitutes a section where equipment can be mounted to the station's exterior hull for data collection, and crew members can reach the external mounting locations through an airlock and hatch on the Wentian, which serves as the station's main airlock for extravehicular activities. The crew can also access these mounting locations utilizing a secondary robotic arm installed aboard the Wentian. This one extends just 5 meters in length. However, the remarkable feature of this arm is its ability to actually traverse around the station and function from various positions. Furthermore, the secondary arm can actually connect with the primary arm to create one 15-meter robotic arm that would essentially equal the dimensions and capabilities of the Canadarm2 on the ISS. Rounding out the trio is the Mengtian module, or Heavenly Dream. This module closely resembles the Wentian, with the most significant distinction being that Mengtian contains no crew sleeping quarters, providing it with additional space for experiment racks where research has been conducted on atomic physics, material science, and fluid dynamics. The station in its current configuration was finalized in November 2022, following merely a year and a half of orbital assembly. For a contemporary space program, this represents remarkably rapid advancement and constitutes a genuinely significant milestone for human space exploration. The initial observation you'll make regarding the interior of the Tiangong is that it appears spacious and expansive, particularly when contrasted with the ISS. Tiangong exhibits a distinctly minimalist contemporary design. What proves interesting is that the exterior diameter of the Tiangong modules measures nearly identical to the diameter of the ISS modules, approximately 4.2 meters or 14 feet across. Therefore, the distinction lies in the amount of internal volume accessible. Several reasons account for this. Firstly, the ISS modules are generally much shorter with additional connection points between them that generate constrictions in the architecture. For instance, the Destiny Laboratory on the ISS, which serves as the principal operating facility for American astronauts, measures 8.4 meters or 28 feet long, whereas the Wentian and Mengtian modules both measure 18 meters or 59 feet in length. Secondly, The technology aboard Tiangong is simply far more contemporary and consequently more compact and capable of fitting into reduced space. For example, numerous systems on Tiangong connect wirelessly rather than requiring a maze of cables running throughout, like what we observe on the ISS. This isn't to suggest we should criticize the ISS too severely or anything. It possesses considerable age. The majority of the station was constructed in the 1990s. Several of the Russian modules actually originate from the Soviet Union era. Consequently, it only stands to reason that we'd be witnessing substantially more refined technology in the Chinese design. Additionally, most of the instruments and control panels on the Tiangong are concealed behind these plain white panels when not being utilized. This could serve a functional purpose, or perhaps an aesthetic one, or they simply prefer to prevent others from observing what they're working on. Regardless, it does contribute to making the station appear very pristine and modern. It resembles an Apple retail store in space. AI is advancing more rapidly than rocketry at present. It's transforming entire industries, automating complete workflows, and even assisting in spacecraft design. The question becomes, will you position yourself ahead of it or struggle to catch up? This is why I'm enthusiastic to collaborate with Outskill, the world's largest AI education platform, to extend an invitation to their 2-day AI Mastermind occurring this weekend. 2 complete days, 16 hours with expert instructors demonstrating how to progress from AI novice to AI professional. You'll discover how to master prompt engineering, utilize over 10 of the most powerful AI tools like Make.com and various code platforms, construct AI agents, automate your workflow, develop interactive websites and applications, and even enhance your presentations and spreadsheets, all within 1 weekend. Typically, this training costs $895, but I've secured 1,000 complimentary seats for Space Race viewers if you claim yours within the next 72 hours. That amounts to nearly $900,000 in training being distributed. Additionally, you'll receive $5,100 in exclusive bonuses if you participate both days, including a 3,000-plus prompt reference guide, a roadmap for generating income with AI, and your customized AI toolkit builder. Therefore, don't allow yourself to fall behind in AI's wake. Click the link in the description or pinned comment immediately to secure your complimentary seat before they're claimed, and I'll see you inside the mastermind. Life aboard the Tiangong follows a meticulously orchestrated rhythm that mirrors a terrestrial day. Taikonauts adhere to China Standard Time. Their day commences around 7 a.m. with communications from Mission Control in Beijing, followed by the initiation of formal work activities at 8. The daily routine is intentionally structured to preserve both productivity and crew wellness. Following a morning of scientific experiments and maintenance duties, the crew pauses for a mandatory hour-long afternoon rest period. That begins at 1:30. Chinese mission controllers regard this rest interval as essential for sustaining alertness during the extended orbital day, which experiences 16 sunrises and sunsets as the station completes its 90-minute orbit. At 6 p.m., the crew assembles for dinner, followed by one of the more recognizable aspects of life aboard Tiangong, watching television. Specifically, they view Xinwen Lianbo, China's most popular daily news broadcast. At 9 p.m., it's time to deliver their final report to Mission Control, and then withdraw to bed. Each crew member receives their own private alcove with individual curtains, and each one features a small circular window offering their own view of Earth. Each sleeping compartment includes a headphone set, personal ventilation system, and other amenities that establish a genuinely comfortable living environment. Regarding the crew's experience inside the Tiangong, one of the elements that truly stands out is all of the foot restraints that are installed into the floor. We're perpetually accustomed to observing crew on the ISS simply floating around constantly, but the Chinese genuinely seem to prefer keeping their feet on the floor, so they're typically strapped in rather than free-floating. Whenever you observe them posing for group photographs, they're invariably standing upright. Continuing with the contemporary aesthetic, Tiangong represents the inaugural smart home in space. Crew members utilize tablet computers to wirelessly manage various systems throughout the station, from illumination to temperature and ventilation. Here's a genuinely intriguing feature. The station possesses a lighting system that replicates the day and night cycle on Earth. The system can recreate daylight, sunset, and nighttime illumination, assisting in maintaining the crew's natural rhythms. Now, one aspect that is indisputable is that crews on Tiangong have been dining exceptionally well. The station's distinctive greenhouse facilities represent a substantial advancement in space agriculture. Crew members successfully cultivate cherry tomatoes and lettuce as components of experiments in space-based food production. The 120 varieties of food accessible aboard Tiangong represent a culinary program engineered to sustain both nutrition and morale. The selection process is highly individualized for each crew member, with meals selected based on individual astronaut preferences. Traditional Chinese cuisine features prominently in the space menu. We have spicy chicken, shredded pork, black pepper beef, and pickled cabbage, all among the standard offerings. Even the station's kitchen facilities extend far beyond the basic food preparation areas of earlier space stations. We have a dedicated kitchen table providing space for meal preparation, while a full-sized refrigerator stores fresh produce. Fruits like apples are regularly resupplied, and the crew has access to 32 different varieties of vegetables. Tiangong even possesses the first space microwave. Gallons' aerospace microwave oven was developed in China over a span of 10 years. Now, it doesn't seem like much, but it constitutes a fairly significant achievement to possess a microwave that's actually functional in space. The ISS has never possessed one because the power consumption would be excessive. Consequently, they utilize a food-warming device that adds hot water to their freeze-dried food packets, but it requires approximately 20 to 30 minutes to heat up. The space microwave on the Tiangong can heat up a meal for 3 crew members in only 7 minutes. It had to be specifically engineered not only to operate on very low power, but also to withstand the stress of a rocket launch. Physical exercise is also genuinely critical to health while residing in space. Crew members must exercise for at least 2 hours daily. It's essential to maintain as much muscle and bone density as feasible, and regular exercise also helps to prevent fluids from accumulating inside the person's head. The station's exercise facilities are distributed across the 3 modules, establishing dedicated fitness areas equipped with specialized equipment. The Wentian module houses a customized space cycling machine that exercises both upper and lower limbs simultaneously. The Mengtian module features resistance training equipment, including a rowing machine. This differs somewhat from the International Space Station's approach, which relies heavily on a complex resistance device that simulates squats and deadlifts with up to 600 pounds of resistance. The Chinese rowing machine provides comparable muscle activation in a more compact and efficient design. However, here is potentially the most innovative element the Chinese have implemented. Their uniforms are equipped with elastic resistance bands integrated inside the clothing, so they provide continuous resistance throughout daily activities, helping to maintain muscle tension even when crew members aren't actively exercising. Now, naturally, the primary reason that the crew is up there is to perform work, conducting research and experiments that will help to advance our understanding of life, the universe, and everything. The Tiangong now possesses a total of 23 experiment racks on board, with an additional 50 platforms for exposed experiments on the station's exterior. These external racks are going to enable them to conduct experiments on ecology and biology in space, fluid physics, combustion, material science, and the effects of varying gravity. For the external experiments, the Mengtian actually possesses a specific airlock system that permits the crew to prepare an experiment from the inside and then load it into the airlock, where an automated system will depressurize and send it out to the exterior, where either a robotic arm or a crew member on an extravehicular activity can collect the experiment and attach it to the station's surface, and they can send experiments back inside the Mengtian through that same system. We know that the next addition to the Tiangong station is going to be the Suntian module, which will be a robotic space telescope that can operate either while docked to the station or independently in orbit near the station. The telescope remains under development, but it is planned to possess a 2-meter diameter primary mirror with a field of view approximately 300 times wider than the Hubble Space Telescope and utilize a 2.5 gigapixel camera. That's the equivalent of 2,500 megapixels, and it will enable the telescope to image roughly 40% of visible space over 10 years. Beyond that, we already have word that China is considering another expansion to the Tiangong that will witness it double in size. Chinese media reported that growing experimental demands are already placing higher requirements on the space station's available space and energy supply, and that factors into China's new ambition for opening up Tiangong to more international cooperation. Earlier this year, China's Human Spaceflight Agency announced it would be training astronauts from Pakistan to reside on the station. They would be the first international astronauts to visit thus far, but the Chinese have claimed to be in discussions with other countries regarding flights of their astronauts to Tiangong as well. As the ISS begins to wind down and progress towards retirement, The Chinese station is ramping up to become a new international platform in low Earth orbit. And life in space is already beginning to appear considerably different than what we've known before.